After losing my wife, I thought remarrying would bring peace and stability to my daughter and me. My new wife seemed perfect, until one day I returned from a business trip, and my daughter said, "Daddy, new mom is different when you're gone." What I discovered next shattered my trust and changed everything. Subscribe to the channel and let us know in the comments where you're watching from. The house was eerily quiet as I sat at the edge of my daughter's bed, tucking her in for the night. The only sound was the faint hum of the heater as it fought against the cold outside. Lily, my 7-year-old, clutched her favorite stuffed bear close to her chest, her wide brown eyes looking up at me. "Daddy, can you stay until I fall asleep?" she asked softly, her voice barely audible. "Of course, sweetheart," I replied, smoothing her hair back gently. Since her mother's passing 2 years ago, Lily had become my world. Every decision I made, every step I took, was with her in mind. Losing Sarah, my wife and Lily's mom, had been a devastating blow for both of us. Sarah's battle with cancer was long and grueling, and when she finally passed, it felt like the light in our lives had been extinguished. For months, I struggled to keep myself together. Juggling work and parenting alone was exhausting, and no matter how hard I tried, I felt like I was failing. I could see the sadness in Lily's eyes, the way she clung to me a little tighter every night. I knew she missed her mom more than words could express. Then, one day, Rebecca came into our lives. I met Rebecca at a charity event for cancer awareness, the very same cause I had thrown myself into after Sarah's passing. She was stunning, elegant, confident, and radiating warmth. She introduced herself with a dazzling smile, and within minutes, we were deep in conversation. Rebecca seemed to understand my struggles. She was patient, kind, and genuinely interested in my life and Lily's. Over time, she became a regular presence in our lives, slowly breaking through the walls I had built around my heart. Lily, however, was slower to warm up to her. While Rebecca went out of her way to make Lily feel comfortable, my daughter remained reserved. She was polite, but distant, often retreating to her room during Rebecca's visits. I chalked it up to Lily needing time to adjust. After all, no one could ever replace Sarah. After a year of dating, I proposed to Rebecca. I truly believed she could be the one to help me rebuild my family. She was everything I thought I needed, a strong partner who cared deeply about both me and Lily. The wedding was small and intimate, held in the backyard of our home. Rebecca looked radiant in her white dress, and for the first time in years, I felt hope for the future. Rebecca moved in shortly after the wedding, and while I could see Lily was still adjusting, I convinced myself that things would get better with time. Rebecca assured me she wanted to be a loving stepmother to Lily, and I believed her. 2 months into our marriage, I had to leave for a week-long business trip. It wasn't unusual for my job to require travel, and Rebecca assured me she could handle things while I was away. "Don't worry about a thing," she said with a smile as I packed my bags. "Lily and I will have some quality bonding time." I kissed Lily goodbye, promising her I'd be back soon. She held on to me tightly, her small arms wrapped around my waist. "Be good for Rebecca, okay?" I said gently. She nodded, but there was a flicker of hesitation in her eyes. When I returned home a week later, things felt different. Lily was unusually quiet, clinging to me more than usual. At first, I thought she was just happy to see me, but as the evening wore on, I noticed subtle changes in her behavior. "Did you have fun with Rebecca while I was gone?" I asked over dinner, trying to spark a conversation. Lily looked down at her plate, pushing her food around with her fork. It was okay, she mumbled. Rebecca, who was sitting across the table, laughed lightly. Oh, come on, Lily. We had a great time, didn't we? We baked cookies and watched movies. Lily didn't respond, and I felt a pang of concern. That night, as I tucked Lily into bed, she clung to my hand. Her eyes were wide and serious, a far cry from her usual sleepy demeanor. "Daddy," she whispered, "can I tell you something?" "Of course, sweetheart," I said, brushing a strand of hair from her face. She hesitated, glancing toward the door as if to make sure Rebecca wasn't listening. "New Mom is different when you're gone," she said finally, her voice trembling. I felt my chest tighten. "What do you mean, Lily?" She gets mad a lot," Lily said, her voice barely above a whisper. "She yells at me, and she said I'm a bad girl." I frowned, my heart sinking. Rebecca had never shown any signs of anger or impatience in front of me. "Did something happen while I was gone?" I asked gently. Lily nodded, tears welling up in her eyes. "She took away my bear because I didn't clean my room fast enough," she said. And she said I shouldn't tell you because you wouldn't believe me." Anger and disbelief surged through me, but I forced myself to stay calm. "Thank you for telling me, Lily," I said, pulling her into a hug. "I promise I'll make sure everything is okay." As she drifted off to sleep, I sat by her bedside, my mind racing. Could Lily be exaggerating? Or was there something about Rebecca that I hadn't seen? That night, I couldn't sleep. Lily's words replayed in my mind like a haunting refrain. "New Mom is different when you're gone." I wanted to believe there was some misunderstanding, that maybe Lily was struggling to adjust or had misinterpreted Rebecca's intentions. But the doubt lingered, gnawing at the edges of my thoughts. Rebecca seemed perfectly fine the next morning, bustling around the kitchen, preparing breakfast with her usual cheerful demeanor. She greeted me with a kiss and even packed Lily's lunch for school. To anyone else, it would have seemed like a picture-perfect scene, but I couldn't shake the nagging feeling that something was off. Lily, on the other hand, remained unusually quiet. She sat at the table, picking at her cereal, her shoulders slumped. Whenever Rebecca spoke to her, Lily answered in short, hesitant responses, avoiding eye contact. I decided to test the waters. "Lily, how about we bake cookies together after school today?" I asked, hoping to lift her spirits. Lily's face brightened for a moment, but she quickly glanced at Rebecca, her expression shifting to uncertainty. "If it's okay with Rebecca," she said softly. Rebecca's laugh was light, but tinged with something I couldn't quite place. "Of course, sweetie, but don't forget, you need to clean up your room first. No cookies until that's done." The comment seemed innocent enough, but the way Lily flinched made my stomach twist. Over the next few days, I started paying closer attention to Rebecca's interactions with Lily. At first glance, everything seemed normal. Rebecca helped Lily with her homework, reminded her to brush her teeth, and even read her bedtime stories. But it was the small moments, the fleeting looks and subtle shifts in Lily's demeanor, that hinted at something deeper. Lily became more withdrawn, retreating to her room whenever Rebecca entered the room. She stopped asking for bedtime stories and no longer hummed her favorite songs while playing with her toys. One evening, as I was putting Lily to bed, I noticed a small bruise on her arm. "Lily, what happened here?" I asked, my voice steady but concerned. Lily hesitated, her gaze flickering to the door. I tripped," she said quickly, pulling the sleeve of her pajama top down to cover the mark. Her response didn't sit right with me, but I decided not to press her further. Instead, I resolved to get to the bottom of what was happening. The turning point came when I overheard Rebecca scolding Lily one afternoon. I was in my home office on a call when I heard Rebecca's voice, sharp and cold, cutting through the otherwise quiet house. "You're such a spoiled little brat," Rebecca hissed. "Your dad might fall for your crocodile tears, but I know what you're really like." I froze, my hand tightening around the phone. I couldn't hear Lily's response, but the sound of her stifled sobs reached my ears. That night, after Rebecca went to bed, I made my decision. If I was going to confront her, I needed undeniable proof. I ordered a set of nanny cams and spent the next morning discreetly installing them around the house. One camera went in the living room, another in the kitchen, and a third in Lily's bedroom. I positioned each one carefully, ensuring they were hidden from view. "Daddy, what are you doing?" Lily asked as she watched me adjust the camera in her room. "Just making sure everything is safe," I said with a reassuring smile. A week later, I told Rebecca that I had a last-minute work conference in the city and would be gone for the weekend. She seemed unfazed, her smile bright and confident. "Don't worry, darling," she said, kissing me goodbye. "Lily and I will be just fine." As I left the house, I felt a pang of guilt. Part of me wanted to believe that Rebecca wasn't capable of what Lily had described, but I had to know the truth. I checked into a nearby hotel and set up my laptop to monitor the nanny cam feeds. My stomach churned as I waited for the first signs of activity. The first day seemed uneventful. Rebecca went about her usual routine, tidying up the house and preparing meals. But as the evening approached, her demeanor shifted. From the living room camera, I watched as Rebecca called Lily downstairs. Her voice was sharp, lacking the warmth she always displayed in front of me. "Lily, I told you to clean your room," she snapped, her hands on her hips. "I did," Lily said timidly, standing at the bottom of the stairs. Rebecca rolled her eyes. "Don't lie to me. Go up there and do it again. And don't even think about coming down until it's spotless." Lily turned and trudged back up the stairs, her shoulders slumped. Later, the kitchen camera caught Rebecca muttering under her breath as she washed dishes. "Ungrateful little brat," she said, slamming a plate onto the counter. I clenched my fists as I watched, but the worst was yet to come. The next day, Rebecca's behavior escalated. From the bedroom camera, I saw her storm into Lily's room, holding up a stuffed bear. "Is this what you call cleaning?" Rebecca sneered, holding the bear by its arm. Lily flinched, her voice trembling. "I didn't mean to leave it out." "Well, maybe you'll learn next time," Rebecca said coldly, before tossing the bear into a trash bag. Lily's sobs were heartbreaking, and I felt a surge of anger like I had never felt before. I returned home that evening, furious and determined. Rebecca greeted me with her usual smile, but I didn't respond. "Is something wrong?" she asked, her voice laced with faux concern. "We need to talk," I said, my tone icy. I led her into the living room and pulled up the nanny cam footage on my laptop. Her face went pale as she watched herself on screen, her cruel words and actions playing out in stark detail. "What do you have to say for yourself?" I demanded, my voice shaking with anger. Rebecca stammered, tears welling in her eyes. I didn't mean to. It's just been so stressful." "That's no excuse," I interrupted. "You lied to me. You hurt my daughter, and you thought you could get away with it." Rebecca pleaded for forgiveness, but I was done. I packed her bags that night and told her to leave. Lily deserved better, and so did I. In the weeks that followed, Lily slowly began to heal. Her laughter returned, and so did her sense of safety. I vowed to never let anyone come between us again. After Rebecca left, the house was quieter, but it no longer felt oppressive. For the first time in weeks, the air felt lighter, and Lily's smile began to return. I took a few days off work to focus solely on her, knowing that rebuilding her trust and sense of security was my top priority. That first weekend, we spent the entire Saturday baking cookies in the kitchen, Lily's favorite. Flour dusted the countertops, chocolate chips spilled across the floor, and her laughter filled the room. It was a simple moment, but it reminded me of the joy I thought I had lost forever. "Daddy, can we make these every weekend?" Lily asked, her cheeks smudged with flour. "As many weekends as you want," I replied, pulling her into a hug. One evening, as I tucked Lily into bed, she looked up at me with her big brown eyes, her voice soft. "Are you mad at me, Daddy?" "Mad at you?" I asked, surprised. "Why would I be mad at you, sweetheart?" "Because I told you about Rebecca," she whispered. "I didn't want to make you sad." My heart broke at her words. I knelt beside her bed, holding her small hands in mine. "Lily, I am so proud of you for telling me the truth. You are the bravest girl I know, and I will never be mad at you for being honest with me." Her lip trembled, and she threw her arms around my neck. "I love you, Daddy," she said, her voice muffled against my shoulder. "I love you too, sweetheart," I whispered, tears pricking my eyes. To ensure we both healed from the ordeal, I reached out to a family therapist who specialized in helping single parents and children. The sessions were a turning point for us. Lily learned how to express her feelings without fear, and I learned how to better support her as a father. During one session, the therapist asked Lily, "What makes you feel the happiest at home?" Lily thought for a moment, then said, "When it's just me and Daddy, when he listens to me and makes me feel safe." Hearing her say that solidified my resolve. My focus would be on her from now on. No distractions, no rushing into relationships. Lily deserved my full attention, and I was determined to give it to her. A month after Rebecca left, I sat down to write her a letter. I didn't write it to send. It was for me, a way to process everything that had happened. In the letter, I acknowledged my own mistakes. I admitted that I had rushed into remarriage, blinded by my desire to create a perfect family for Lily and me. I had overlooked the warning signs, and in doing so, I had put my daughter at risk. But I also wrote about forgiveness, not for Rebecca, but for myself. I had made a mistake, but I was learning from it. I folded the letter and tucked it away in a drawer. It was a small step, but it felt like reclaiming a part of myself that I had lost. One sunny afternoon, I took Lily to visit Sarah's grave. It was something we hadn't done in a long time, and I felt it was important for both of us. Lily carried a bouquet of sunflowers, Sarah's favorite, and placed them gently at the base of the headstone. "Hi, Mommy," she said softly, kneeling beside the grave. "I miss you so much, but Daddy's taking really good care of me. And guess what? We made cookies last weekend, and they were so yummy. You'd be proud of him." I stood behind her, my heart aching with a mixture of sadness and gratitude. When Lily stood up, she reached for my hand, and we stood there together in silence, letting the moment wash over us. "Mom would be so proud of you, Lily," I said, my voice thick with emotion, "and she'd want us to be happy." Lily nodded, squeezing my hand tightly. In the months that followed, Lily and I found a new rhythm. We turned our small traditions into treasured rituals: movie nights with popcorn, Sunday morning pancakes, and long walks in the park. I also learned to lean on my support system: friends, family, and even the therapist who had helped us through the darkest days. I no longer felt the need to chase perfection. One evening, as I tucked Lily into bed, she looked up at me with a contented smile. "Daddy, I feel safe again," she said. Her words were all the reassurance I needed. This story is a powerful reminder of the importance of listening to our children and trusting our instincts. In trying to create a perfect life, I learned that true happiness comes from the love and trust we build with those who matter most. If this story resonated with you, please like and share it to spread awareness about the importance of protecting our loved ones. Subscribe to Stories Unfolded for more emotional tales of resilience and family. Let us know in the comments where you're watching from. We'd love to hear your thoughts.